A Quiet Place, Day 1. This is the spoiler review. I have a review up on my blog, soundedbettermyhead.com. You want to check out the spoiler-free version there, that's cool. I actually gave this a 2.5 out of 5. It sounds a little low, but it's what I'm going to roll with. Just, it was a little boring at times. I think the first problem was there wasn't much of a strong plot. Like, if it's basically the aliens show up, the main character and later main characters are trying to, not get killed, and then there's no real like end goal. Like, it's kind of implied that the safe place to go is the dock or the pier or whatever, and there's some boats there that are gonna get people out of there. But we don't find that out for a little while, and the main character seems to have like no interest in getting there. Just like a couple times she just talks about going to get a slice of pizza. Like, her goal is to get some pizza, and that's it. And even when she's got a follower with her, there's no like, hey, they said, even though the pit stop's cool. If you're on, I think they needed to say, we need to get this boat. It's our only way to survive. And they have trouble doing it. You got a couple pit stops. You got the thing where she wants to get the pizza and stop at her apartment. All that other stuff's great, but it seems it has to be like a driving force to like get them somewhere. And I think that hurts where it's like, okay, they're just kind of just doing whatever. I think the other big issue that it has is the whole gimmick of this franchise is you can't make a noise, or these aliens are gonna come out of nowhere and just kill you. So like even the slightest noise, and that's why what kind of worked with the first two is interesting. Now, granted, these people have been doing this for years, and they know how to survive in a world where you can't make noise, like using leaves instead of plates, and like little walking around with no shoes on. And obviously, the characters in this new movie aren't at that point yet, or they're not at that point yet. But just there's so much other shit going on. You got car alarms you could set off. You got other people out there trying to survive too. They could get away with a lot more noise in this one, where it's instead of being like super super quiet like the first couple films, like there's so much leeway here. It doesn't feel that different than any other random horror movie where you're trying to keep quiet because there's something out there. Like, I don't know. It didn't feel as special this time around. It just felt like it was like watered down. The acting was fine. Couldn't complain about the acting. Obviously, it's weird because they really can't talk much. They found a nice little loophole where it was thunderstorming out, and it gave them a chance to just have a conversation. But other than that, you also lost the fact that since the other characters in the previous films knew sign language, you had subtitles, you see what they were saying to each other. Here, a lot of times it's mouthing or just saying nothing. I think I felt like it lost a little bit, with the characterization there. I think this film could have helped maybe drop in a little bit more lore on these aliens, and for a second it looked like they almost did. There's a part where it looks like, I don't know, it's supposed to be eggs or something like they're messing with. Like, it's never explained, it's never really shown that well. There also seemed to be like a massive, gigantic one at one point that just shows up in this little nest or whatever it is. But again, it's never really shown, it's never brought up. The guy, I know they're limited to how much they could talk, but he never explains what he saw. So I don't know what that was supposed to be. So the gimmicks kind of wore out, and I know they're already talking about it, doing a new one, but it's like you almost need some kind of new lore to kind of propel the story. It could sink it. If it's stupid, it could sink the franchise. But I think it's going to start running out of gas at this point. But other than that, it's just alright. Like, it's a little bit scary just because there's so many of these aliens, and they're running like a stampede half the time. But you lose like a lot of the tension that the first film had. The first two films really. There's so many points in those films where it's like you're on the edge of your seat and you're afraid to make a sound because these characters are like in a bind or like thing coming. It's like, oh, you're so worried about them. It's like you really don't get that here. And there's like a couple parts where they try to be kind of tense, but it's like just the way it is in the film, the positioning. It's like, yeah, they're gonna get out of this because the story's got to keep moving. There was a part where he's like got to get on top of this scaffolding by where the eggs were to get to the cat. And so it's got tension, but it's like he's gonna be fine. It'd be too weird of a point in the film for him to get killed off. And then that's where they introduced like the ginormous one, and it's like this is dealing with plot armor because this thing's right next to him listening. It seems like he's trying to listen for like his heartbeat, and then it just wanders off, and it's like, well, he just survived because of plot armor. Not much else. One strange thing, I swear in the trailer, there's an old man that has to stop a generator, and he does, but it's too late, and Alien kills him. But in the film, it's her friend, who's basically a nurse from the hospice she's from, that cuts off the generator, and then he gets killed by Alien. So I don't know, was there almost a duplicate scene, or did they change it, or was that them trying to like hide a minor spoiler that this character that's barely in the movie gets killed? Like, it was a weird choice. And one thing, I almost got to give it a thumbs down for this. They had jump scares in the previous films, that's fine, but they had the cheapest jump scare I've seen in a while, where she wakes up, she looks out the window, and you see classic, normal New York cars, and society's great, which it's confusing for a minute because, it's pretty much a post-apocalyptic right now. So you just kind of like, is that a dream? And then they had this big jump scare where one of the aliens comes right at the window, and it was just kind of tacky. It's like just no a jump scare for absolutely no reason. The only thing, she was sleeping and she was dreaming, and that happened. That woke her up. She almost screamed. It's a little bit, I could let it slide a little bit more, but she didn't even react. Like, it was only there for the audience to like have the jump scare. And the end was all right. Like, you kind of, the way these films are, there's usually not a happy ending for everybody. So at least, one character dies and the other one lives. And that's about it. And then I don't know, the whole thing with her having cancer, I don't think it added that much to the film. Like, it wasn't really that important plot-wise, except that you got a woman that's, like, dying. I think the only thing it really accomplishes is at the end, when she does finally, let herself be killed, is that, well, she didn't have long to live anyway, so it's not that big of a tragedy. That's about the best I could come up with that, having that included in the plot. I think that's it. There's not like a ton that really goes on here. It's about what you expect from this, the film series at this point. Just like I said, it's less tension because it's so much other stuff going on, and it's more, I don't know, it's almost borderlines on being a little bit more actiony sometimes. But that's about it. I do got the non-spoiler version of this review. I have other movie reviews, other TV show reviews. I got comic strips. Those are all at soundonbettermyhead.com, so if you want to check that out, that's awesome. Other than that, thanks for watching.